The time by Sagicor is
7 o'clock.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of
Your Love Lives On with life insurance from Sagicor.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Lothan Cousins proposes landmark land reform. From commute to conflict, police investigating chilling bus incident. Spanish Town gets industrial lift with new tech park. And abducted Westmoreland businessman released. In the business report, Supreme Ventures Limited 2024 performance defying the odds. And in sports, JOA president happy with cricket's inclusion at 2027 Pan Am Games. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Wednesday, June 25, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you for joining us. Opposition Member of Parliament MP Lothan Cousins is calling for the largest transfer of wealth in Jamaica's modern history through land ownership reform. His bold proposal was unveiled during his sectoral debate presentation in Parliament on Tuesday. Southwest Clarendon Member of Parliament, the opposition's Lothan Cousins, says he is on a mission to empower Jamaicans long dispossessed of lands in their own country. He notes under a PNP administration, land and home ownership will be a priority. And with an estimated 1 million Jamaicans living on government-owned lands, he proposes continued regularization.
Regularizing these informal settlements can only contribute positively to society. The country stands to benefit immensely. It's a win-win. It gives land to the landless. It restores trust in the government and has the potential to earn real-time revenue from lease, sale, and even property tax collections. I must quickly add, Mr. Speaker, that this approach is not a one-size-fits-all. Each community has its own unique set of circumstances.
The member proposes that long-time occupants of government-owned land be allowed to purchase their lots at affordable rates, calling it a matter of justice, not charity. Cousins says the initiative would empower the landless, restore trust in the state, and generate revenue through formal leasing and sales.
In some cases, and we'll concede and we'll be honest, we may have to relocate due to environmental and other factors which render certain areas uninhabitable. We will revisit how persons living on government land for decades can benefit from ownership, not through giveaways, as I said earlier. This is why we propose that under a future PNP government, the cost of the land will be excluded from the NHT housing prices.
That's some $2 to $3 million more per housing unit. He also urged reforms to the Registration of Titles Act, recommending a reduction in the occupation period required to claim Crown lands from 60 years to 25. The plan, inspired by Dominica's land regularization model, is part of the PNP's broader People First agenda. Cousins emphasized that true independence means giving Jamaicans the legal right to the land they've called home for generations.
The NHT starter home is now at 14 million. When we form government, those units will be on the market for between 11 to 12 million. Yes. That represents savings for those of us who know what paying a mortgage is like. You'll appreciate the savings over 25 to 30 years.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness visited the family of the 6 individuals, including 3 children, who tragically lost their lives in a car crash in Osceola County, Florida. The visit occurred at the family's home in Caymanas Gardens, Portmore. The crash in Osceola County resulted, of course, in the deaths of 6 people, and we said 3 children among them. According to Fox 35 Orlando, the crash involved a 2024 Hyundai Tucson traveling westbound and a 2011 semi-truck with a trailer heading eastbound. Preliminary investigation indicates that the driver of the Hyundai attempted to pass several vehicles by entering the eastbound lane. While trying to re-enter the westbound lane, the driver reportedly lost control of the vehicle.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Harold Anderson. I'm the father for Keosha and Angel Anderson.
Okay, alright. Devastating situation. Can you just walk me through how the family cope with the loss?
Family not cope with at all. Rough from both sides. So I say, yeah, I say rough. And right now, my wife, she's not 100 and now. And not even me alone. And my neighbor up the road, so Chrissy, she a bit rough. I don't know. Just have to.
We'll have more in subsequent reports. The police have launched an investigation into a violent encounter involving a female passenger and a group of high school students on a bus commuting from Halfway Tree St. Andrew to Spanish Town St. Catherine. Raymond Morrison has that story.
What started as a routine commute quickly escalated into chaos on a public transport coaster bus. The entire encounter is now under police investigation. A video now widely shared online shows a woman armed with a knife, apparently attempting to attack several passengers on board. Eyewitnesses say the woman pulled the knife on a group of students during an argument, allegedly injuring some of them. In fear, passengers scrambled to exit the bus as the driver and conductor tried to disarm her. The video shows the woman thrusting at multiple passengers, but what sparked the incident remains unclear. Police responded to the scene where they attempted to calm tensions roadside. But as the woman spoke to officers, seemingly attempting to explain her side of the story, a boy is seen sneaking up from behind, striking her in the back of the head with a rock, leaving her almost unconscious. The young man immediately fled and was chased by police. It's alleged that he became angry after believing officers were taking the woman's side. The authorities have confirmed that they are reviewing the footage. However, no formal charges have been laid. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
Meanwhile, the Westmoreland police have confirmed that Gavin Myers, the businessman who was abducted by gunmen on Tuesday morning, has since been released. Myers, who owns and operates a car mart in Darliston Square, was taken from his business place at around 7 a.m. after he reportedly went to meet a customer interested in purchasing a truck. It's understood that shortly after the kidnapping, the men, believed to be heavily armed, demanded a ransom of over $10 million. While it is still unclear whether the ransom was paid, Myers, who is also an entertainer known as Gavin Killy, was released and reunited with his family yesterday afternoon. Police investigations into the incident are ongoing. Minister responsible for climate change, Matthew Samuda, has called for continued support in funding initiatives around more sustainable environmental practices. He was speaking recently at the Climate Investment Fund's CIF Latin America and the Caribbean LAC Knowledge Exchange in Kingston. More in this report from Giselle Mills.
We gather at a time when the consequences of climate change weigh heavily on our collective future, particularly for small island developing states and vulnerable nations across our region. For Jamaica and our LAC neighbors, climate change is not a distant threat. It is a lived reality.
The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, estimates that climate change could cost the region up to 1.5% of its GDP annually by 2050. Minister Samuda stressed the need for equity, accessibility, and locally led solutions.
The European Investment Bank highlights that delivering on Paris Agreement targets in the region requires an additional $1.3 trillion in investment by 2030. Meanwhile, extreme weather events between the year 2000 and 2022 have resulted in over $150 billion in damages across the region, underscoring the urgent need for resilient action and predictable climate financing. It further supports the urgency for continued support of the UNFCCC framework and its principles of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities.
Highlighting Jamaica's experience as a participant in the CIF's pilot program for climate resilience, pointed to a number of successful initiatives.
We've seen the tangible benefits of our partnerships with the World Bank and indeed the IDB. Successfully implemented initiatives that promoted enhancing yearly early warning systems, climate-smart agriculture practices, and building climate-resilient infrastructure stand as true measures defining potential that is turned actual investment and outcome. These practical experiences are why we consider this event essential. The knowledge exchange gives us space to reflect, learn, and collaborate, not just on what worked, but why and for whom. It provides a platform to ensure as we scale up investment through CIF's new nature, people, and climate, and ARISE programs, we do so inclusively.
The event is expected to deepen South-South cooperation, strengthen regional alliances, and amplify the voices of climate-vulnerable communities across the Caribbean and Latin America. Over the 4 days, the group will also visit projects that benefited from CIF funding in Jamaica, including a solar-powered agricultural production hub that demonstrates how concessional finance can drive tangible progress in national planning, infrastructure, and livelihoods. Druselle Mills, CVM News.
More CVM News at 7 in a moment.
Every generation brings new hopes and ambitions. For 55 years, Sagicor has been helping Jamaicans to realize their dreams. As we celebrate our past, we look forward to continuing that legacy of trust, providing support and financial solutions for the next generation to succeed. Sagicor, building trust, one generation at a time.
Yo, genius! We just get the Burger King Double King combo. One original chicken sandwich plus a Whopper Junior with cheese. Well, 2 sandwiches plus a small fries and soda for only $1,300.
You use the new rubber money. You did say the money can stretch a Burger King.
Me mean you get more food for your money.
Oh.
1 combo, 2 sandwiches.
So you want I got eat whole of 2 sandwich, brother? My belly can stretch, you know.
Get the BK Double King combo. Limited time only at Burger King.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Thanks so much for staying with us. A new report from the Auditor General is raising red flags about how Jamaica's social benefit programs are being managed. The findings point to serious gaps in coordination and oversight, with multiple government entities operating in silos, ultimately affecting some of the nation's most vulnerable citizens. More from Andre Jebinson.
The Auditor General found issues with several social benefit programs across various government entities. The primary concern centered around a lack of coordination and integration among these programs, leading to a fragmented system with inefficiencies. This fragmentation, according to the report, manifests itself in several ways, including duplicated efforts and an inability to share crucial information across different programs in different ministries. Dwight Sibley's, MP for Clarendon Northern, highlighted the urgent needs often faced by the recipients of these social benefits. For example, a medical student not fully covered by the Students' Loan Bureau.
This grandson can't afford it. They can't afford it. Ambitious, but they can't afford it. So we would have put that person to get the benefit every year.
We actually reported that someone received, I think, $500,000 in one day, and it may have been distributed three different times. So in one day, they received $1.5 million. And others where we saw repeat over a period of time, it wasn't for education, it was for the purchase of goods. So we don't know the basis on which sums are being distributed in this manner. And there may be, as you say, a reason why, but nothing is documented.
Carencia Morrison, the Member of Parliament for St. Catherine North East, questioned the necessity of a central database.
John received the benefit through one ministry, but it doesn't prevent him from receiving even 5 benefits. Why do we need the centralized system then?
The Auditor General's report specifically suggested the establishment of a central database, a recommendation that was made by the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
However, let me just state that the government has already developed the strategy for the centralized database of beneficiaries, and there's a $20 million project with the World Bank in pursuit of this. So if it is that we are considering the effectiveness of this strategy, whether this is what we need, I think all parties involved need to go back to the table, because I just want to make it clear that the Auditor General's department is outside of this.
Julian Robinson, the PAC chairman, urged the government to conduct a cost-benefit analysis of the social benefit programs.
Looking at the cost of administering it, because that's really where the issue is. If you work out and you add up, both in terms of human resources, but financial resources to administer programs, and whether in centralizing those resources can be better directed to the beneficiaries.
The PIOJ will be asked to join the conversation when next the committee meets. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
50,000 Jamaicans are set to benefit from a $1 billion solidarity program. Labor and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says vulnerable Jamaicans will be receiving $20,000 cash grants as well as additional support. With more, here's Danila McLaughlin.
Speaking at the launch of the new Social Security Services program, Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says vulnerable Jamaicans will be receiving a cash grant of $20,000. This, according to the minister, will strengthen empowerment and inclusivity.
50,000 Jamaicans who are vulnerable who will receive this support in the form of this one-off cash grant of $20,000, a step towards real empowerment and inclusion.
The program is also meant to provide opportunity for the beneficiaries in the areas of education and employment through the ministry's public and private sector partnerships. Beneficiaries can access training programs at the Heart Trust facility.
So it is a cash grant coupled with a sustainable support, whether it is to put you into Heart, to register you for NIS, to get you into a program with one of our private sector partners. Our intention is to bring all of Jamaica from the vulnerability to the opportunity.
Young and unemployed Jamaicans, informal and low-income workers, as well as small business owners are some of the persons said to benefit. Elderly Jamaicans who are not benefiting from other social services programs will also now be able to access these services.
The program is going to identify persons and focus on these categories. Elderly Jamaicans who are not now receiving PATH, social pension or NIS support, and that goes for all categories. Young people, for those who are not in school, no longer in any training, not employed, you are who we are looking for. For those persons with disabilities who face the realities of the demand of the circumstances they're in, you are who we are looking for. For the informal and low-income workers who work hard every day without the safety, PS, of formal protection, you are who we will be looking for. For the medically indigent individuals, Cabinet Secretary, those who cannot afford now the necessary medical care due to whatever the circumstances, limited income, lack of insurance, whatever it is, those are the persons that we're looking for.
Daniela McLaughlin, CVM News.
We'll have more after the break, so stay with us.
It's just joy and niceness whenever we get together. And that smile on your face is something to treasure. Yeah. Grateful that in these special moments, I'm the one that you always chosen.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yeah.
Come rise with sunrise. It's another Thursday with Miss Kitty and Dennis. We begin with a masterclass on the sneaky costs of summer with Carlton. Then we head to our library for Sunrise Book Club. All aboard. We're off to Marine Mania. It's summer camp time. We keep the kiddie content going in Kids Unfiltered, powered by Sunshine Snacks. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
From politics to global events, from social issues to breaking news, Lead Story Prime dives deeper, cuts through the noise, and uncovers the stories that shape your world. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Lead Story Prime with me, George Davis, for an hour of incisive analysis, expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Thanks for staying with us. The president of the Jamaica Association of Principals for Secondary Schools, JAPS, Linvern Wright, is rejecting the government's latest wage offer to teachers. Wright believes it is unacceptable as it falls short of what teachers deserve. Carla Ramdeen tells us more.
In a long-standing issue among the teaching population, the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, has been engaging in negotiation with the Ministry of Finance over matters of increased wages. The JTA requested payment since April, but there has been a delay. President of the Principals of Secondary Schools, Linvern Wright, disagrees with the offer being made. He deems it as unsatisfactory.
Well, the reason this is about salary, I'm seeing where it's 0% in the first year. And I think that it is heartless, especially when it comes down to teachers. In all fairness, if principals were to be fair about it, principals have been dealt with, far better. And we have to admit that. I have no issues admitting that. But the teachers are the people who have the heavy lifting work to do. in the education system.
Wright explains this situation is affecting the profession. He's suggesting to consider how this issue may impact national development.
You are not going to attract better teachers with the kind of salaries because other countries who are doing better than Jamaica, and we will never reach where these countries are unless we reach a point where we understand that education is important first. Teachers are important to education. In fact, the research tells you that the biggest factor or the most important factor in students performing well is the quality of its teachers.
He cautions that teaching is a long-term investment and there's no productivity without valuing teachers.
What we have to look at is whether education is an important project in national development. If we are talking about progress and we are talking about prosperity, we have got to understand that there's no prosperity without good education. There's no national development in terms of productivity without people becoming more aware. I know I heard the Prime Minister speaking to the fact that we don't have enough people for construction, we don't have enough people for the projects that we have. But the fact is that our people in technical areas, our mathematics teachers, all of those people are going.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Well, the Spot the Good Driver Award in its 11th staging coincides with Road Safety Awareness Month. As we hear from our reporter Akeem Aret, the awardees came from the East.
They are often criticized for causing chaos on the roads, taxi drivers, but those who have chosen that profession in Eastern St. Thomas are being celebrated for their good conduct behind the wheel. President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Edgerton Newman, says it's all about rewarding responsibility. He also says he is pleased with how the operators are conducting themselves.
We're happy to find some good drivers obeying the road code, obeying the transport authority regulations, the uniform, the badge, the car is clean, taking passengers around. So we're happy that we could present them a number of awards, which they were happy for.
Among the recipients of the Spot the Good Driver Award is Janoy Bramwell, who says he is grateful for the recognition.
A good deed is rewardable and today proves it. I am very thankful for this token. It is well much appreciated and it feels so good to do the right thing.
Another Spot the Good Driver awardee, Fee Anderson, who has been operating for years, says she enjoys her job, primarily protecting women and children. But while they are doing their best, they are left with bad roads and nowhere to park. Newman used the opportunity to renew the call to the related stakeholders to act quickly on getting things done.
I'm hoping that the minister and the member of parliament and the mayor, because the parish council, the municipal corporation, it's their responsibility to deal with things like parking facilities. It is none. It is nowhere in Eastern St. Thomas.
With the ongoing push for improved road safety, Newman is also making an appeal to the Transport Authority to make things better for the operators where their IDs are concerned. Akeem Aret, CVM News.
We're now joined by Jordan Fort, who'll steer us towards what's to come in sports.
Well, I can tell you, Nika, that the Jamaicans are steering themselves out of the CONCACAF Gold Cup as we speak. They went crashing out the Reggae Boys last night after being thrashed 4-1 by Panama in Austin, Texas. I'll give you the details and I'll tell you what the coach had to say after the game, which was quite interesting. But the West Indies giving some life to Caribbean fans because they're doing well in their first test against Australia, stuttering a bit with the bat, but they did very, very well with the ball this morning.
Happy to hear that. We'll have plenty more to come, but after this break.
Shop and roll a RAV4. New thing, new car, life-changing. Stop. Shop and roll a RAV4.
Stop, shop and roll out in a brand new 2025 Toyota RAV4 from Quartz & Quartz Optical today. Spend 120,000 at Quartz or 80,000 at Quartz Optical and you get an entry to win. Shop on credit and get triple entries for a greater chance to win. Plus, there's monthly prices of a TCL 98-inch TV and 100,000 in supermarket gift certificates to be won. Promotion ends July 20. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Get ready for a powerful night of worship. Jesus All the Way, a fundraising worship encounter presented by the Jamaica Seventh-day Baptist Conference of Churches on Sunday, June 29, Randy Williams Entertainment Center, featuring Kevin Downswell, Rhoda Isabella, Alicia Taylor, Kevin Heath, Nadine Blair, and Perpetual Sounds of Praise. Gates open at 4 p.m. Showtime 6 p.m. Tickets available at SpurOpen.com. Jesus All the Way, a worship encounter with a purpose. Sunday, June 29, Randy Williams Entertainment Center, powered by Stuart Soto, Love FM, Mellow FM, Gospel JA, and CVM TV.
Come and tell me what is bothering you, Krishna. Come on.
If Mummy wins tomorrow's competition, then she will leave and take me away.
I won't allow that.
So the court gives the order that from today, Krishna's legal guardian will be her father, Mr. Sagar Chaturvedi.
I don't want to hear Ganga's name again as long as I live.
Ganga.
Brought to you by
Hyundai or Hyundai.
50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
Welcome back. It's now over to the Business Report with Joel Crossgill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today. As Supreme Ventures Limited hosted its 2025 annual general meeting, following a year that challenged the company's resilience while highlighting the importance of its innovation and strategic market expansion, as Chairman Gary Peart outlined during his report to shareholders on the company's performance in 2024.
After recording strong profits in 2023, SVL enjoyed an even stronger first quarter of 2024, with those 3 months outperforming the first quarter of 2023. Then came Hurricane Beryl, which affected the operations of a number of our retailers, particularly those in the southwestern end of the island, and the Jamaican economy in general. By year-end, we experienced a 27.26% decrease in net profit compared to 2023. Obviously, not what we hoped for at the start of the year. Notwithstanding the setbacks, the company produced gross ticket sales of $107 billion, a $54 million increase over 2023, demonstrating that our products remain attractive to our players. We continue to put the vast majority of our earnings back into the Jamaican economy. For 2024, listen to this. The group paid over $8 billion in fees and taxes to the government, multiple times our profitability.
SVL's lottery products continue to drive revenues, with Peart making a significant announcement surrounding the renewal of its lottery license.
SVL paid out dividends of 68 cents per share, and a total dollar payout for the year was $1.64 billion. Even as we continued our technological evolution, we have not lost sight of our core Jamaican gaming and lottery business. Lottery and numbers games continue to contribute the lion's share of our overall results. In the meantime, sports betting continues to be the fastest growing segment in terms of revenue growth, growing to $16.4 billion, an increase of $550 million when compared to 2023. SVL is also on an increased pace of profitability, as we have been granted an extension in our gaming license for another 30 plus years when our current license expires. The granting of this extension allows us to increase our pace of product development and innovation.
SVL's investment and product development at Caymanas Park continues to deliver impact, with payouts to punters totaling $6.4 billion. Nonetheless, Caymanas Park remains unprofitable, a reality that Chairman Peart believes could be turned around should his repeated calls for divestment be realized.
SVL has identified $100 million to be spent over 10 years if we can convince the government to allow us the chance to modernize and develop Caymanas Track. Both the park and SVL would be better served if the park is fully divested to Supreme Ventures, so we can take it on a modernization and a stronger profitability path. Nevertheless, the team continues to develop the product, and of course, the highlight of the year was the third renewal of the Mute Mile Invitational, which features the largest purse in the English-speaking Caribbean. The Wild West Wear theme took Caymanas Park by storm in December 24. I want to pause to thank the Mute family, who is responsible for the purse for the Mute Mile. If we didn't have that, we could not have been doing what we're doing. Thank you.
The announcement of a new featured service as part of its remittance and microfinancing operations demonstrated some of the dynamism that the innovation arm is evolving by harnessing existing technologies and forging new partnerships.
You've already heard about Supreme Ventures FinTech Revolution. We have officially brought on board our first third-party remittance retailers, with 12 more in the pipeline to support our 6 company-owned locations. So in basic English, we have our remittance license. We started with 6 of our own company-owned locations, and we now have approval to take on third-party retailers, and we took on our first last month, and we expect to grow that to over 200. 2024 saw SV FinTech leading the company's technological evolution with the rollout of additional products under our financial services brand, Evolve, with products like Evolve Bill Pay, Evolve Money Transfer, which is remittance, and Evolve Lend, which is microfinance. Our micro-lending company, newly renamed Evolve Loan Co., is developing a WhatsApp loan product, which will be launching soon, providing even more convenience to our customers. So you can go on your WhatsApp and apply for a microcredit loan and get approvals.
On the international front, I Bet SV Ghana crossed a major milestone with a performance that may provide the best odds of identifying an avenue to growth that will support the ultimate ambitions of the company.
We're pleased to advise that I Bet SV Ghana has become profitable. And if it continues on the same trajectory, this business is likely to surpass Jamaica within 2 years. This investment, which had the full backing of the board, was a very bold step. We knew that there were significant risks, and we made this investment with our proprietary lottery software, with our own Jamaican employees and strategists. And we have been able to start from greenfield to profit in 18 months. It is amazing. As we go into other countries, we intend to ship Jamaicans to lead these countries. You will also have local partners, but ultimately we want to position SVL as a global company that is promoting its own people to all different parts of the world.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
CVM News at 7 continues with sports right after the break.
It's just joy.